Have you ever wanted to get something done and you just can't find the motivation for it? The motivation to get started or to stay on the path? I've been hearing that a lot from people lately, that they just can't get themselves going. And I know that busy mothers, busy working women, it's really hard to find the energy sometimes to get started and to stay on the path. So we're going to talk about a really important topic tonight that'll help you get to the finish line, to get where you want to go. I see people are joining, so I want to start and say hello and welcome people. I see lovely Eileen is with us, so I'm going to say hello to Eileen. And I do see people joining in, so I want to welcome everybody to our home here, our location, our full scope location to solve problems for busy working mothers who want to feel stronger, who want to feel more empowered to get what they want done in life, at home, at work, for their family, for themselves. And motivation is an important ingredient to take you there. So I am so glad to welcome everybody here. I'm going to talk a lot about motivation tonight. How to get motivated when you feel you need it. And maybe you're having trouble finding where can I get that fire, that light to get myself going or to keep myself to stay persistent on that track. So I'm going to be giving you specific strategies for common obstacles. And I'm going to be talking about what motivation is and how to find it. And make sure you stay until the end, because I'm going to talk a little bit about how to motivate your kids also. I know moms are always interested in that. So let's get started. I want to ask you to think of an example when you really have been motivated for something in your life. So I'm going to give you an example. Maybe you want to plan a birthday party for your best friend, and you just can't wait to plan the guest list and the invitations and the food, and your mind and your heart, you're all revved up. You're all ignited. You can't wait to get this done. Your motivation is on fire. Let's think of that. Let's think of another example where people are really highly motivated. The start of a marathon, and somebody counts down 10, 9, 8, 7, and they get all the way down 3, 2, 1, and everybody's ready to run off. Nobody's thinking, I don't know if I have the motivation for this. I don't know if I have the willpower. Everybody is psyched. Everybody's ready to go. So that's a great example. Those are great examples of what real motivation feels like when you're really excited and you have that flame lit. Now let's think of something that people describe as less motivating, and we're going to build how to create motivation. But one example that I hear a lot from the women that I work with is when you want to lose weight. So people have that as a goal. I want to lose weight. I'm going to use that as an example a lot tonight. I'm going to use a few other examples, but you can, of course, substitute your own issues and goals. So let's say the goal is somebody wants to lose 30 pounds. And is somebody really motivated and excited to get started as they were to jump off of the marathon or to plan a party for their friend? Well, most people think, or most people that I hear when they talk about weight loss, they think, well, I'm going to have to go on a diet. I'll start a diet tomorrow. So we usually put it off. Or I want to find a new job, but I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. I'm going to think about that. I'll figure it out tomorrow or next week. Or I need to clean the house, and I'll do it later. So if you really don't have that fire going, you notice how people put it off. So what can you do when you don't have the motivation? You want to get the goal done, but you want to get yourself motivated. I'm going to give you lots of secrets tonight, but first, let's talk about what motivation is, so we'll have a better understanding of how we can create it. And this is kind of funny. I looked for a dictionary definition for motivation. And in one of the very famous dictionaries, they had the definition of motivation as the act or process of motivating, which I thought was not really a very helpful definition. So I looked in another dictionary, and it said that motivation is the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. And that's relevant. I think it is, that if you want to get from point A to point B, you have to have a reason to act, to take the steps to get from one point to the other. So I thought that's a reasonable part of a definition. Another was the general desire or willingness of someone to do something. So again, that's relevant. General desire, willingness, I'm willing to do something. And I don't think that gets across what I want to say, because it doesn't say I'm excited about doing something. I'm highly motivated. I'm driven to do something. So I'm going to tell you my definition for motivation is what gets lit in your mind and heart to get you to take steps to make something happen. What's the force or the stimulus or the momentum? That's your motivation. What's your why? To me, that makes a difference. If you want to get something done, to have a clear understanding of what your motivation is. So for example, if you want to get from point A to point B, and point B is your goal, it's great to have a goal, but you need to have motivation. Otherwise, you may sit at point A and say, I have a goal, I really want to get there. And you may just have that as an obstacle. You don't have a plan to move forward. What you really want to do is have a plan to get from point A to point B, and you can't wait to take those steps to move forward to get to point B. So lots of places talk about willpower. I want to talk about willpower and two types of motivation. So in willpower, and I'm going to give you the example, is if you really are trying to lose weight and you're in a restaurant and you see a piece of chocolate cake go by, and often you'll hear the description, well, you need willpower so that you don't have the chocolate cake. But with willpower, you're really thinking, I am going to will over my power that I really want to have chocolate cake, but I'm going to find will to restrain myself. So when you do that, you're not in the excited part of your brain that I can't wait to do this and I can be creative and I can be energetic and do it. You're in the stressed part of your brain when you're thinking willpower. I really want to do something. I really want that chocolate cake, but I'm going to behave. I won't do it. But then again, should I have the cake? Should I not have the cake? Again, you're working in your stressed part of your brain. And that's not the strongest way to have motivation. Think about planning a party. You're excited. You can't wait to do the steps. That's not the same thing as willpower. So we really don't want willpower. When we want willpower, don't want to be in the stressed part of our brain when we want motivation. We want to be in a positive pathway. So I want to talk about two types of motivation. One is called external motivation. Sometimes it's referred to extrinsic motivation. And the other is internal motivation or intrinsic motivation. So with external motivation, the source of why you want to do something is external to you. So, and again, the example I hear in many cases is somebody may decide to go on a diet to lose weight, maybe because a spouse or a partner said something to you, or a friend or coworker said something, and you just think, well, I better lose weight. Or think about this, contrast this with internal motivation or intrinsic motivation, where the source of why you want to do something is within you. You may decide, I want to lose weight because I want to have more energy to play with my kids. Or I want to lose weight because I want to be healthier. Or I want to lose weight because I want to look better for myself. I want to wear certain clothes that I'll feel good in. So motivation is stronger when it's internal and intrinsic because you're more driven to do something that you feel the passion for, as opposed to doing something that somebody else just wants you to do. So again, if you want to do something, if you have a goal, if you can really figure out and define clearly your internal drive to get something done, it can help you. And again, because very often if it's not our own drive for a diet, we might say, I'll start tomorrow. If we're a little intimidated, we have an assignment by our boss to write a long report. Maybe we talked about the example of losing 30 pounds for weight loss. So maybe you need to, for work, write a 30-page report. And you may just feel, I'm so overwhelmed and intimidated. I don't know where to start. I'll start tomorrow. Because you're really not motivated to get it going. Or to clean up the house, if it's not your internal motivation, I'll do it later. So I want to talk about a few common obstacles, a few common reasons of lacking motivation. And then I'm going to give you specific strategies for each one of how to find that motivation. So a few common obstacles to motivation is, one, you want the goal, but you don't want to do the work for the goal. You want the end point, but you're not excited about the path. And a common example, very realistic, is you want to lose the weight, but you're not excited about the pathway. How do you find motivation? We're going to talk about that. 2 is you want the goal, but you feel like you don't have the time, or you feel you're too stressed. You have too much else on your plate, or you're too overwhelmed. So you're really not motivated to do it because you have so much else to think about. 3rd is you want the goal, but you don't have a lack of energy to do it. You're just too tired. You just can't get started. And a last obstacle, if you have a goal, is you just feel it's too hard. I don't know how to do this. I want it, but I don't know how to get it done. So let's deal with finding that motivation to get past that finish line. Let's go back to that first example. You want the goal, but you don't want to do the work. Again, a common example is losing weight. Because and let's say you want to lose 30 pounds. But again, a lot of people get discouraged because they feel like, I have to lose 30 pounds and I'm just starting, I'm only losing 1 or 2 or 3 pounds. Or it's just an unpleasant journey to think about because most weight loss plans out there, my clients tell me, and a lot of women feel that the weight loss plans tell you have to starve and you have to exercise so much so you burn the calories. It's just an unpleasant journey, so it's not exciting. And again, when you're under stress, when you're working in that stressed part of your mind, it's not exciting. You don't want to start or stay on the path. It's not exciting. So I do want to tell you that when you're under stress, in many of those weight loss plans, when your body is feeling stress, the process in the body, the physical process of what I call the fat-burning calorie furnace, the key to that furnace is locked when you're feeling stressed. So you're not losing much weight, or you're not losing as much weight as you could, as if you really were motivated if you're in that stress function. The calorie burning system is not fired up when you're not fired up. So really, the first set of recommendations, if you're not excited about your big goal, which maybe is to lose 30 pounds, is to break it down into a small goal and realize that that's part of the pathway. So you really want to start losing 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 pounds, and to feel good about that initial goal. Because in order to lose 30 pounds, you need to lose 2 pounds or 5 pounds or 10 pounds along the way. And you shouldn't minimize that or feel like that's not important. So again, the first step is to find a small goal and not feel bad about that. Feel that that's a reasonable, exciting goal that you feel that you can accomplish. To lose 1 or 2 or 3 pounds, once you get started, getting that momentum is so much easier. A second strategy when you really don't like the pathway is to think about that end point and picture how exciting it's going to be to hit that end point. Picture what you'll look like when you lose the 30 pounds, or what you'll feel like, or what you may want to wear at the end point. And that can help light your fire to get you started, to keep you persistent to stay on the track. So again, you want to think of things that will help you light your pathway, to light your momentum, to light your motivation. And the third, if your pathway that you're not thinking of doesn't give you momentum to light your motivation, then you need to find a better pathway. And an example is with weight loss. Most of these programs out there, these one-size-fits-all programs, the high-fat, low-fat, the high-carb, low-carb, the high-protein, etc., they're such rigid weight loss programs that most people hate being on those systems. And if you do lose weight, the minute you go off the programs, and they're not meant for you to stay on forever, and you go back to your preferred system of eating, what happens? The weight comes back on. So those unhappy systems for weight loss are really the formula for failure. They're not the formula for permanent success in weight loss. And so I say, find a different pathway. And a lot of the women that I work with, I actually have a weight loss program, and I call it actually happy weight loss. Because again, if you're under stress, it's not going to open up your calorie burning furnace. If you're under stress, it's not going to motivate you. You're going to feel stressed with these rigid programs. So I do have a weight loss program that I do offer to the women in this group, to the women who see this video. There's no calorie counting. There are no foods that are absolutely restricted. It really is learning a pleasant way to understand how your body handles weight, and that there are 12 factors that are involved in losing weight in the body. Calories and exercise are just 2 of them. So if you can learn the other 10, it's really important. And it can make weight loss much less rigid and much more pleasant. So again, I'm using weight loss as an example because it's very common that I hear. I'm not going to talk much more about that program in group tonight because there are so many other examples of goals and motivation. But if weight loss is something that interests you, make sure that you do set up a phone appointment with me at the end today, so when we finish, so that I can tell you what the program is about. I do have 5 spots, so you want to be one of the first people to set up an appointment if you're interested in that. Again, I'm not going to go into more detail with that other than that it's a pathway to permanent weight loss, and it's a happy pathway. And that's what we want to do for all of our pathways. We want to make them happier, not intolerable, like some of the weight loss programs and the way people feel about them. So again, if the pathway is unbearable or unpleasant, there are always ways to create better pathways to get you to your end point. What about, let's go back to the obstacles to finding momentum. What about if you just feel like you don't have time to do it, or you're overwhelmed, you're just stressed, you have too much on your plate? And when people tell me this, that means to me that they're multitasking a lot, that they're biting off too much at a time. And so I think even before you're looking for motivation, high motivation for a particular issue, it'll help you to learn some strategies to cut down the multitasking, to feel more empowered with all the issues that you're dealing with. And an important strategy is mindfulness, to deal with one issue at a time, to live in the present moment. So that is an important strategy. For a lot of women, it's easy for them to do that themselves. If you find that more complicated and you'd like more of an explanation, again, feel free to reach out to me, because it is such an important pathway, such an important step to open up and unlock that key to light that motivation, to light that momentum, and help you move forward. What about the third obstacle that we talked about, a lack of energy, just feeling too tired for motivation? And I'm just too tired to start working on getting a new job, or I'm too tired to clean the house. And again, when people talk about exhaustion, again, it means to me that you're handling so many things at once. You're really feeling like you're juggling too many things. So one important strategy before you're even going to be able to light up all that motivation is to find some me time. And again, my philosophy is it doesn't mean you have to go to the gym, or you have to go running for half an hour, or you have to take big steps. Start with small steps. Even take some deep breathing time for 3 minutes. Take time to stretch your arms out for 3 minutes, or to visualize a beautiful place to bring you back from that stress level, back in your mind and your body to a calm, peaceful place where you can make empowered decisions of what you want to do and where you want to be. And one of the other obstacles that we talked about, what if you want to get somewhere, you have a destination in mind, but you feel like it's too hard. I don't know how to do this. I don't have the confidence for this. And examples of that are, one, if you want to get a new or better job, and if you don't know how to do it, there's no embarrassment to reaching out for help to get guidance and support. So if you want a new job and you feel you need some advice or that it would be helpful, maybe find a mentor in your field that can give you some guidance or advice. I hear a lot of women talk about how they want to find work-life balance and they just don't know how to do it. They're tired of feeling tired. And I understand that. And people say, I'm tired of feeling stressed, tired of feeling tired of just trying to get through the day, and I really want to thrive. I want to enjoy life again. And if you're feeling that way and you can't find work-life balance, again, you can reach out to me. I help lots of mothers and women do it. And if that's a way I can help you and we can light your motivation and get you going with answers and solutions, then I'm happy to do that. So again, these strategies are very realistic. They can make the pathway much more pleasant and feasible and enjoyable so that you can get from point A to point B. So this can be you. Remember, you can do it on your own or you can reach out. Important steps, just to remind you, are to find some internal motivation. What's important to you that can light your fire instead of why somebody else wants you to do it? And that's a really important step. What's your why? Why do you want to do this? And I promised you that I would talk a little bit about helping to motivate kids. So think about internal motivation, firing up the motivation, excitement about motivation. What's wrong with this approach to motivating your child? Johnny, I told you 3 times to sweep the floor. Or, Susie, I told you to do your chores and you still haven't done them. Or, Bobby, put your computer away. Your screen time was over 10 minutes ago. Again, what is their motivation? How do they feel in those examples? And again, you want to get them going to sweep the floor. You want them to help around the house. I never recommend the word chores to get kids because I find that it's not a motivating word. Chores are usually thought of as things your parents want you and nag you to do. And I don't think it's a motivating factor. I think it's more exciting to teach kids to be self-motivated. I've done a video on that a while ago. If there's interest in our group here, put a comment in the chat. And if there are enough comments, if there's enough interest, I will do another video. I'll do another session on helping your kids find self-motivation, helping your kids to be self-motivated. And the strategies for that is a little bit different than for ourselves, for adults. So again, let's review some strategies. Start with small steps so you don't feel overwhelmed. If you don't like the pathway, find a better pathway. And if you don't feel confident, don't feel embarrassed to reach out to people for advice and guidance. That's how experts move ahead quicker, more efficiently, and reaching higher levels. So again, this is a topic, motivation, that I hear a lot about from women, that they really want to find better solutions, that they're having trouble finding motivation to get started with a goal or to stay persistent and consistent on the pathway. So I encourage you to think of internal factors, internal motivation that can drive you, and ways you can change your pathways to make them more pleasant, more realistic, so that you can reach permanent success and happiness. Again, I hope this was helpful. I encourage you to share this with others if you found it helpful. I always love sharing empowering strategies, so I'll be back next week at this same time. Again, let me know if you're interested in the chat. Let me know if you're interested in a session on helping kids learn to be self-motivated. And I look forward to seeing all of you back here next week at the same time. Join us in the group during the week for a lot of helpful advice, and back here live again. Until then, I'll see you in the group and see you next week here.